Everyone, and welcome to today's video. This is a B2 ESL lesson, and today we're going to be reviewing the future tense and learning how to talk about future plans and possibilities. In Australian English, the outback is a place that is far from the big cities and people. So would you like to visit the outback? What do you need to prepare if you visit a place like this? You can put your answers in the comments. So John is going to give you some information about hiking and camping in Kakadu National Park. And so in which order does John mention these things?
Welcome, everybody. My name is John, and I'm here to give you some information about hiking and camping in Kakadu National Park. Okay, the good news is that you've decided to hike in one of the most beautiful national parks in the world. As soon as you start hiking, you will see what I mean. As long as you follow a few simple guidelines, which are mostly common sense, you'll have a fantastic experience here. As you know, it's the dry season, but it's still very hot. Unless you're used to the Australian heat, you'll need to be very careful. The hottest part of the day is between 2:30 and 6:30 p.m. If you want to beat the heat, it's a good idea to walk earlier in the day. Take plenty of water with you. If you don't drink enough water, you will get dehydrated. Wear suitable clothing and footwear, and don't forget sun protection either. Oh, and don't wander off the marked pathways unless you want to meet one of our local crocodiles close up. Remember, if you are near water, there will often be crocodiles. At this time of year, the hike to Jim Jim Falls is spectacular with wonderful views of the waterfall. It's not possible to reach this area unless you go at this time of year. The roads are closed during the wet season. It's quite a short hike, and as long as you are reasonably fit, it won't be a problem. The rocks can be slippery, but if you take your time, you will be fine. In addition, provided that you are not expecting five-star accommodation, the campsite is great. It has hot showers, wood barbecues, and picnic tables. What more could you want?
Right, so the first thing he mentioned was F, the hottest part of the day. And then B, drinking enough water. Then A, wearing suitable clothing and footwear. Then C, protecting yourself from the sun. Then G, dangerous animals. And then D, hiking to Jim Jim Falls. And finally, E, the campsite. Great, you already know different ways to talk about the future. You can already talk about predictions, future plans, future arrangements, and future possibilities. They will arrive by 3 p.m. We are going to travel to Spain. He is taking the 11:54 train to Chadbroke. If you want to be healthy, don't eat sugary foods. If you don't eat, you will get hungry. Now let's take a closer look at subordinate clauses. In the last example, the sentence has a main clause and a subordinate clause. If you don't eat, that is the subordinate clause. You will get hungry. This is the main clause. A main clause can be a sentence on its own. A subordinate clause is always joined to another clause. The subordinate clause is not a sentence on its own. So if you simply say, if you don't eat, that's not really a complete thought. But you can say you will get hungry. That's a complete idea. And then when you put them together, if you don't eat, you will get hungry, or you will get hungry if you don't eat, are both complete sentences. All right, so now we're going to listen to John and then complete the sentences using the available words. But before we listen, we've got a couple of vocabulary words. Common sense. the ability to think and behave in a reasonable way and to make good decisions, unless, except if, used to introduce the case in which a statement being made is not true or valid. So the words in the boxes are used in subordinate clauses. These clauses refer to the future. And these clauses, think about which tense is used.
Welcome, everybody. My name is John, and I'm here to give you some information about hiking and camping in Kakadu National Park. Okay, the good news is that you've decided to hike in one of the most beautiful national parks in the world. As soon as you start hiking, you will see what I mean. As long as you follow a few simple guidelines, which are mostly common sense, you'll have a fantastic experience here. As you know, it's the dry season, but it's still very hot. Unless you're used to the Australian heat, you'll need to be very careful. The hottest part of the day is between 2:30 and 6:30 p.m. If you want to beat the heat, it's a good idea to walk earlier in the day. Take plenty of water with you. If you don't drink enough water, you will get dehydrated. Wear suitable clothing and footwear, and don't forget sun protection either. Oh, and don't wander off the marked pathways unless you want to meet one of our local crocodiles close up. Remember, if you are near water, there will often be crocodiles. At this time of year, the hike to Jim Jim Falls is spectacular with wonderful views of the waterfall. It's not possible to reach this area unless you go at this time of year. The roads are closed during the wet season. It's quite a short hike, and as long as you are reasonably fit, it won't be a problem. The rocks can be slippery, but if you take your time, you will be fine. In addition, provided that you are not expecting five-star accommodation, the campsite is great. It has hot showers, wood barbecues, and picnic tables. What more could you want?
So each sentence contains a subordinate clause, so read the sentences and answer the questions. Two phrases in bold have a meaning similar to if, so which sentences, and then look at sentence D. If you move away from the marked path without a guide, will a good or a bad thing happen? So if you see a crocodile, don't move closer to it. Snakes will usually move away from you as soon as they hear you. Never move away from a marked path unless your guide is with you. Provided that you wear a hat and stay hydrated, you can walk for a long time. And as long as you wear long pants and a shirt, mosquitoes won't be a problem. So the two phrases that have a similar meaning to if would be provided that and as long as. If you move away from the marked path without a guide, will a good thing or a bad thing happen? Well, probably a bad thing because it's saying never move away unless the guide is with you. Which phrase means immediately? That would be as soon as. Which phrases suggest this is something you should do? Probably provided that and as long as. And which phrase has a similar meaning to when? As soon as. Australia has a lot of snakes, but not all of them are venomous. Snakes are shy and they don't like to be near humans. However, you should know what to do when you come across one in the outback. As soon as you see a snake, stop, don't move. Provided you don't move, the snake will go away. The snake will not attack a human unless it feels threatened, and you probably won't see a snake as long as you stay on the marked pathways. So look at the information and complete the sentences. You can use your imagination and make multiple sentences. So you won't get sunburned as long as you use sunscreen. That will just be an example. But go ahead and just pause the video and try those on your own. If you'd like some feedback, you can put your sentences in the comments. Australia is a large country, and you shouldn't travel in the outback unless you are prepared. You need about 4 days to drive from Adelaide to Darwin. It is 1,864 miles, or 3,030 kilometers, and there is a lot of desert. Before leaving on your trip, what should you do? And if your car breaks down, what should you do? And again, you can put your ideas in the comments. So many people love to explore Australia by driving. However, you have to prepare carefully. What do you do if you break down in the outback? Hiring a camper van or a combi and driving around Australia is a popular choice for many visitors. However, some people are more adventurous than others. Visiting the outback is certainly a great way to get off the beaten track, but this kind of journey requires careful preparation. If you are thinking about driving in the outback, there are 2 golden rules. First, make sure that you tell someone about your plans. Provided that someone knows where you are, you will have a much better chance of being rescued if you run into trouble. So what does off the beaten track mean? Well, it means a place that's not frequented by a lot of people. It's not the regular tourist sites and things that are maybe a little bit more isolated, a little bit out of the way. What does it mean if you run into trouble? Just something has gone wrong. And do you know any golden rules? For example, what is the golden rule about swimming in the ocean? And what is the golden rule about crossing a busy road? There's the thought that you should wait at least an hour after eating before swimming. You need to stop and look both ways before crossing a busy road. So those are some examples of golden rules. All right, so you're going to complete the text. You can pause the video, try this on your own. You don't need all the phrases, and you can use a phrase more than once. We've got some vocabulary. Elements, here elements means the weather, and wander off means to leave a place. So go ahead and pause the video, and you can try these on your own, and then restart when you're ready to check your answers. So if your vehicle breaks down, you should try to stay calm and think clearly. Provided that you are very close to a town, it's better to stay with your vehicle. This is the second golden rule. Far more people survive this way. As long as you stay with your vehicle, you will have protection from the elements, and it is easier to spot a vehicle than a person. If you wander off in search of help, you will be more likely to die from sun exposure or dehydration. It is also important to be ready in case a plane flies overhead. If you write SOS using rocks or branches, the letters will be visible from the air. In addition, as soon as you hear a plane, use your rearview mirror to create a flash and attract the pilot's attention. It's important to stay out of the sun as much as possible and limit your movement. While you wait for help to arrive, you should ration your intake of food and water. As long as someone knows that you are missing, it will only be a matter of time before help arrives. Here's another note. We use in case to give advice about doing something to avoid a bad thing happening later. So now think of a wild animal, a remote place, or a challenging activity. So what are the dangers associated with these things? And you can put your answer in the comments. And you go on a 3-day canoe trip and use some language from the lesson to describe what happens. There's a wild storm, you fall out of the canoe, there's perhaps a bear, and give some advice or write a small paragraph about what could happen in each of these situations using words from the lesson. And that brings us to the end of today's video. Please like, subscribe, share, participate in the comments, and I will see you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye.